big fella?
Heaps of cool shit, mate. Absolutely.
What's it like in Western Australia right now? Is it crazy? Is it
absolutely funnily you should ask. The Premier's just coming out. We had overnight, well, it sounds, they detected a case of COVID. One of the hotel security guards supposedly has contracted the UK variant of the strain. So WA is now 270 odd days of no community transmission gets reset, and he's decided that he's putting us into a 5-day lockdown, which is it sent the city into chaos. I was just down the
I could imagine, man.
street trying to pick a few things up for dinner.
Just people just being. Hold on, I got a button for this. Fuck. No, that's an applause. I don't need that.
That's definitely not that.
That's the one. I don't know if you can hear that. But that's the one. Cheers. I know you probably can't see me actually because of the. Apparently, I can only have one camera showing it on one thing, so it just shows you Streamlabs. So you'll probably just be talking to yourself. I can see you though.
It's all good.
Everybody else. I'm going to give you a cheers, Jack Daniels. Did you get the doubles?
Yeah, look, double Jack and Cola, mate. There we are.
We're on for a wild ride.
Absolutely. I can't.
On a Sunday
I'll call you
too.
up on Twitch here, then I'll be able to see you.
Yeah, mad. Yeah, that'll be good actually. There'll be a bit of a delay, but audio should be okay. I think all the kinks worked out. My desk is a fucking mess. There's fucking shit everywhere. It's 2 mics, keyboards. I bought one of those Stream Decks.
Yeah, I saw
all over it.
Was it one of your Instagram posts or something? I saw your setup. Looks quite neat for having a whole heap of stuff on your desk, you know, bit of cable management and all the rest. It's good.
You should see under the desk. It is fucking chaos. It's an absolute shithole down there. It's fucked up. But time for Josh to do cable. Yeah, Adam, I do. Yeah, it's a mess. I bought myself like a little garden thing. I've got some bamboo and some greeneries to put on my desk so it doesn't seem like a fucking hell. Yeah, you know.
Mate, my wife likes to decorate with houseplants. So as you see, there's a lucky bamboo behind me here.
Yeah,
that's one of them. I have about 40 houseplants. So I got the feels. I know you're getting that.
I think there's an age where women are just like, I'm going to buy plants. You know what I mean? They just sort of get to this stage and they're like, plant. But the thing is, it's sick. Like we went to Bunnings, and I was upset. I was like, I don't want to go to fucking Bunnings. We get there, and Mem's like, "Are you gonna get anything?" And I was like, I don't fucking want anything. And then I was like walking around, I saw the bamboo, and I was like, maybe I'll get the bamboo. And then I just started grabbing other shit, and then I like really got into it. So plants are sick.
I go to Bunnings these days and sort of get out of the car and look up at the sign and the big green shed and think to myself, right, how much is it this time?
Yeah,
big green guy. How much today?
Yeah, what are you gonna take from me now? What a perfect business model too. I don't understand how people work there, right? And they fucking know everything. It's like, oh, I need this screw, and they're like, oh yeah, it's just aisle 6, about halfway down, 3 levels down. You'll find it right there.
Yeah.
You know, how the fuck did you know that?
Right hand side, second shelf, third.
Yeah,
third spot from the left. Yeah.
I think I spoke about it with Stu once, and I was like, they don't let them leave. That's the problem. They keep them all there forever. You can never, once you work at Bunnings, you can never leave.
Yeah,
but exactly. I appreciate the work they do. I appreciate the effort they put in. Bunnings, sponsor me. Give me free nails. You know.
Hashtag Bunnings.
Hashtag Bunnings. How you been? What's news?
Yeah, man. I was just going to say, how have you been? I was just trying to think actually before jumping on here. When was the last time I actually saw you? Would have been before I left Sydney back 3 years ago now.
I think we're talking about 3 years, easily.
Yeah.
Wait, how long? 3 or 4? Sorry, I was confirming with Mem in the background. She's the the fact checker. It'd be about 4 years, man. That's a fucking hot minute.
It has been. I came back across from Sydney, so obviously I spent that 16 or so months in Sydney with the company that I work for. Was lucky enough to go across there and spend some time over there doing some infrastructure work, and obviously met you at the gym there, which was great. It was an interesting time in my life.
It was different.
You could say.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Fuck.
And
Jesus.
Yeah, and then come back across and been back across here in WA again now for 4 years and doing my thing, still in the mining construction industry. So
that's good, man.
That's good, man. It's good.
That's
and you've moved back to Canberra now.
Yeah, so we moved back about a year ago. Well, I moved back, Mem moved down. That's all right. You know, it's Canberra. Like, I love Canberra, but it's Canberra.
Yeah, when they won a school camp once, eh? It was great. We saw Parliament House, and then once we'd done that, it was like, what else is here?
That's what everyone does. The War Memorial is pretty sick, though. Like, I'll give.
Oh yeah, we did visit. Yeah,
100% props to War Memorial for really carrying Canberra for so long. You know what I mean? Like between the War Memorial and Questacon, Canberra had nothing for so fucking long, and now it's not too bad. It's, I don't know, it's got the mint. You can go get a $1 coin for like $6.
I've got a couple of friends, obviously yourself and sort of the crew that Maddie and the boys that you've sort of introduced me to, that I'm keen at some point to actually meet in person. Would be great. But a few other of mine and my wife's friends too now, I think, living in Canberra. So it sounds like it's the place to be.
Just come check it out. You know, we could do a live thing here. We'll drink, we'll eat, we'll talk some shit. Go check out the War Memorial. Just what have I done? Just do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I did notice that I'd be the third of your friends or people you know that you've chatted to from Western Australia there in the last, what is it, 4 or 5 episodes now?
Yeah, it's we're spread out.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you should up and shift across.
You know what? Like, it's one of those places that I think in Australia, it's like one of the only places I haven't been, and I think it's the only place I should have been. You know what I mean? like Melbourne's cool, and Sydney. But I think Western Australia is that sort of like a hidden gem, just tucked away.
Yeah, we love it. WA, people from WA, we love it. We're pretty passionate about Perth and Western Australia and keeping our own little slice of heaven. We don't mind being so far removed from the rest of the country, and
that's right. It's like
you'll see that
it costs like fucking $1,000 to fly there. They're like, don't come here.
Like, the airlines have got it worked out now. I swear, because when I drove back from Sydney to Perth, when I moved back, it cost me $1,000 in fuel. So they've obviously just worked it out and going, well, we'll just make the flights $1,000 even if it only costs us $300. If they want to drive, it's going to cost them that anyway.
So do you want to drive it or do you want to fly here?
Yeah, same price.
Either way, it's going to be the same, but one's going to be much worse than the other one. You can either get here immediately or you can drive for fucking 4 days or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's nuts, man. No, it's good. I definitely want to visit. It's on the list. I think I got there and Tassie left, so it's on the list of places that I need to visit before.
Yeah, well, Maddie will be touring here soon, hopefully. I keep on his case about making an appearance in WA. So when
they travel the world.
They can come over.
Like, he could take a minute to fucking pop over to Western Australia. You know what I mean? Like, he'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna go play fucking like butthole America. Like some fucking town there. Won't go to Western Australia. But he's doing well. I watched him on Friday night. It was sick. It was a really good gig, actually. I enjoyed myself. So
good.
So
good.
Matty, tour. Nothing but Western Australia.
Make a note.
Yeah.
Just trying to think, what cool and interesting stuff did I tell you that I can talk to you about?
We did have a list, didn't we? We had
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Did you? I don't know what it was. Just rattle one off, and we can go over it.
Well, I guess the probably the interesting thing for I guess some of your viewers and listeners would be a little bit about the FIFO lifestyle, right? So the mining industry, and I know you had a beautiful lady on there, one of their shows earlier, who was from a Pilbara or a remote town in WA. I can't remember her name.
Maddie.
So that was really interesting to hear her talk and know that she was living up there. But yeah, I mean, I'm a project manager for a construction company that does large scale mining construction for the likes of BHP and Rio Tinto and Woodside. So, we're working remotely in the Pilbara in Western Australia, and it's a sort of a minimum hour and 45 2-hour flight from Perth to the work site, and often you fly directly into the work site and the camp. So it's an interesting one, and it comes with its challenges. There's a lot of people that have done it now and sort of know what it's about, but it's still a little bit of an unknown for a lot of people out there. But rosters, I've done rosters of 4 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 1 week off. I've done a few swings where it's sort of 7, 8, 9 weeks away, 1 week home. So it's it does get a little bit long in the tooth sometimes, but
I can imagine.
We love it. We're one big family. When you get there, we've got a group of people that I've worked with. Obviously, I started as an engineer, but obviously, moving up the ranks there now, I've got engineers that are working, in my team, and we're really good friends in work, outside of work. You're up there for 3 weeks at a time with these people, and you see them more than you see your family. So, we all sort of get amongst each other and support each other through it. We talk about fairly openly and honestly about things that we've got going on at home.
You'd have to though, right? That'd be
you do.
You'd go fucking mad if you didn't. You'd lose your mind if you were just like, I'm just going to keep it to myself for 9 weeks.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It's a funny thing. It's a funny thing because you get there and you're in the camp and you get up in the morning early, 4:30, whatever it may be. Go and have your breakfast, make your lunch. It's the same food. It's every day sort of thing. You go in, you make your breakfast, you have your breakfast, you make your lunch, you take your lunch to work. You go through your work day, you come home, back to the same sort of room in the same camp, and it can become very monotonous for people that like routine. It's great, and for people that sort of don't like to cook, it's also great. But
that's right.
For those of us that enjoy a little bit of interaction, outside of work and to have a bit of a cook in the kitchen and bits and pieces, it can get pretty boring pretty quick. So. You got to do your best. You got to look after each other. A bit of a sad story that sort of goes with fly out type work last year on one of not my project, but 2 of the other projects that the company's got going on. We actually lost 2 people in the camp. One unfortunately took his own life. The second one, the investigation is still ongoing, but mental health is a huge thing.
How do they mitigate that? Like, how are they? Like, obviously, like, even from an outside perspective, it's very apparent that like this is like an isolated lifestyle, and they have to sort of implement something to sort of stop people spilling over. Like you said, if these, like, I've had friends who have killed themselves, and you don't know, you're never gonna know.
No.
It just happens. So it's like, do they have anything in place to mitigate that a little bit, where it sort of, obviously it's not going to stop it, but it definitely slows it down? Do you guys have active counselling? Do you guys have psychologists on board? What's the deal?
Yeah, so there's a number of things. There's obviously, you don't know, and I guess the beauty about working so long away and with the same people every day, you can easily, identify if someone is acting a little bit out of ordinary, or it's a bit quiet. And we always encourage our people to look after their mates, look out for their mates, ask the question. There's a number of phone counselling support services there that the companies put on and pay for, and it's just a phone number, and you can get over the phone counselling sessions and the like. If we do identify someone that appears to be struggling a little bit more, then it can be sort of fixed or spoken about over a phone call. We actively get counsellors up to the camp, and they're pretty good. The camp, in general, the facilities are really nice. The camps are as good as you could kind of ask for. There's gyms, tennis courts, swimming pools. A really good mess, really good bars. There's a multifunction rooms. It's pool tables and all the like. So they do encourage you to get out and get a part of the sort of the community, and they run exercise classes and sort of PT sessions and stuff. So try and promote a healthy lifestyle. And I guess with the promotion of a healthy lifestyle, it you hear it all the time with mental illness and, you know, mental awareness and mental health that, you know, being physically fit and active and eating a good diet are some of the keys to sort of battling that and not succumbing to it. So they promote that a lot. And then also have the support services there when needed. So.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's becoming more acceptable. So I was having a chat to Ben earlier today. He does something similar to you now, but he was in the military before. He was in the army rather. And it's I think there used to be a massive stigma, especially with men, with this whole like don't talk about it, just deal with it type thing. And I think we're starting to lose that stigma a little bit, where this whole man up attitude is starting to dissipate a little bit because it doesn't work. So they've gone, you know what, like you're not any less of a man if you go, I'm not doing okay. Like I'm struggling, and you know what I mean? So it's.
Yeah, I listened earlier today to that podcast live, and there's a couple of points there that really struck home with me. Firstly, to talk about small towns and how they operate, because I come from one in the southwest of WA, so it really resonated with me what was going on there and how you guys were talking about falling asleep in garden beds, because
fucking happens,
dare
man.
I say it's been done before.
It happens.
But yeah, the other one was the discussion around, you know, I guess that male or that perceived male-dominated sort of industry, and I guess the you know the stigma around that, and men having to be strong and then take the lead and wear the brunt of the load, and you know, I guess push their emotions to the back of their mind and continue on. And it's a fantastic discussion point, because you know things are changing, 100% are changing. You know, me personally, I'm a member of our company's, you know, gender diversity and inclusion committee. You know, one of sort of 8 people within the company, you know, driving, you know, gender equality and change, because there's a massive benefit. There's a massive benefit, you know, in social life, in operation of the business, you know, the direction the business takes, and that's just not from a business point of view. That's from a society point of view and everything else. So it's a huge thing. And one of the things I sort of thought about this morning when I was listening in was, you know, when was the last time I cried? You know, like there's a fantastic sort of podcast type thing similar to what you do here about AFL players, and one of the guys' interviews, you know, I mean, the last time I cried, and I thought about that today when I was listening in. You know, I think I can't remember the last time it was that I sort of shed a tear, but I can guarantee you, in the presence of anyone, it would have been in the car listening to a song that, you know, struck a chord with me, or somewhere on my own, you know.
Yeah, so. That's right. It's like you said, it's hard. Like even so, thinking back to even the last time I cried, I know one that's happened recently, but before that it was I couldn't even tell you. So even the one recently, it was over my dad. So my dad last year was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And it just got to the point where I tipped over. I did the whole just press it down, like it'll be fine. You know what I mean? And it's one of those situations that is never going to be fine. And I cried, but I remember it being incredibly brief. And then there's that stupid thing in the back of my brain that goes, "Fucking stop, man." And I go, "Okay, yeah." And then you just you stop yourself from just unleashing all of that shit that you need to fucking get out. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was raised very much so in the whole don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about. Fucking man up. And it fucking carries on.
It does, man. It does. I hear where you're from. I often think to myself, and you know, say to others, I'm probably one of the most emotionless people that you're going to come across. People you know, can go to funerals and they can be close to me, and I'll stand there and hold it together, and you know, it can be put under massive duress and stress and still be the calm head. I can, you know, get myself into situations where you could be forgiven for breaking down and not being able to cope, and I continue to do so. And you know, one part of me says, thinks to I'm really proud of that. You know, I'm really proud that I can, you know, be a level head of consistency, and people can turn to me because I can provide that. But on the other side of that coin is, what's that doing to me? You know, internally.
That's 100% right, man.
Am I gonna get to a point where it's going to all become too much in, you know, a year, in 10 years, and have a breakdown. And it's hard to know. It's an unknown, and you've just got to be cognizant and be self-aware of all of that.
Yeah, I think the thing is too is like educating people, especially men. Like, to be fair, I know there's probably going to be people who listen to this who will be like, but girls feel things too. They do. They 100% do, and they have different emotional outlets to what we do. I'm just speaking from personal experience, but it's like we're not educated in where to go, who to talk to, what to talk about, because it's a weird feeling when you either ask somebody or they ask you like, how you doing? You know what I mean? And your immediate reaction, regardless of how you feel, yeah, good man, how are you? Immediate,
Yeah,
off the cuff,
absolutely.
like, how do I approach it? How do I even bring up that something is an issue? So I think it's like,
Yeah,
once again, it's like getting rid of that stigma of this fucking man up attitude that we've created, and then on the back end of that, allowing people to have access to information of where to go and who to ask and what to ask. More importantly, I think, you know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. And look, I agree with you. That potential, females and girls and women have emotions too, and by no means am I saying that they don't, or
Yeah.
they shouldn't be given the same level of respect. It's just that history tells us that
Stats don't lie.
when women do have those emotions, they can quite freely let them go and talk about them, whether that be to their partner,
Well, yeah, like I said,
or their friends. So, but traditionally, men aren't like that. So, we get ourselves into these situations where pressure amounts, and no doubt, Josh, you've experienced that. I think you went through a period of time there not long ago where you kicked out of your apartment and you're trying to run your business, and I dare say you're doing a lot of that out of your apartment. Not knowing what you're going to do or how you're going to handle it. It's a lot of pressure, and it might not seem like anything to somebody else from the outside, but it is, and it's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. It's I think it's like it steps into a different level as you get older. I think when you're in your 20s, you can sort of, as a bloke, just pass it off and bury it under something, drinking, partying, whatever it may be. But as you start to become 30, you lose that wall to hide behind that you can sort of, blame it on, and then that level of responsibility of not only achieving something but holding it together, like, steps in. So it's like you're the head of your household. You're the man of the family now. It's like maybe you would feel that now becoming like a new dad, where it's like you're not only responsible for your well-being, but your partner's and your child's. And once again, it's the saying that women don't feel it, but I think as a man, you kind of take it on a little more, in a sense that we were ingrained with that whole man up attitude, and then we try and act tough, and then we're sort of seen as figureheads where people can rely on us and put a little bit more weight on us when they need. So,
absolutely. I think that was another one of the discussion topics, that becoming a new dad. I talk about, with my wife giving birth to a beautiful, he's now nearly 4-month-old little boy, and
that's wild.
She's doing a fantastic job. I've got the utmost admiration for her and everything she puts in. The house is her domain. That's what she wanted. That was her choice. It wasn't something that was just a stigma or the norm. She decided that that's what she wanted, Trent, and she's doing a fantastic job.
You can't say that now, women. No, I'm not playing. What? There's going to be one out there. I guarantee it. There's going to be one.
But it is the but there is added stress in it, and whilst there might not be, not actually be the pressure might not be there. You perceive it. We go down to one income. I've got two managing projects. I've got 2 projects on the go at the moment, worth a total of $80 million to the company. So it's a big business. I'm out every week. I travel.
That's
if not 2 or 3 days a week. I'm on a flight at 5:30 one morning, and then 2 days later I'm back at 9 o'clock. Damn. I don't see my son for 3 days at a time, and I know that there's other, they take longer and all the like, but each to their own. There's a whole heap of performance pressure from a business point of view. For on me, I've got a team of people reporting directly to me of about 30 or 40 now that look to me for guidance every day. Obviously, I've got to manage and report up the line. We're a tier 1 construction company, so ASX listed, the whole lot. So there's a massive amount of responsibility there. Trying to balance that with with home life and supporting my wife as best as I can, and I always try to do as best as I can. And then having time for yourself too.
That's the big thing. I think
I haven't. Yeah.
Finding that time for you to not only like physically, like you said, like there's an all encompassing thing when it comes to mental health, and one, it's that physical, but that mental space that you need to put yourself in. And I think I always live off like the like a 3-place rule. You need 3 places in your life. One is your home, your second one's your work, and you need to find a third space for you, whether it be the gym or somewhere where you can just mentally unload. And I think especially with somebody like you who's in and out, and then the time that you are in, like in your home, you want to spend it with your family, because in a few days you're about to fly out, you're not going to see them for a few days. It's creating that third space that it gets, you lose it. Like straight up, you'll fucking lose it. It'll go straight away.
It's the first thing to go. It's, everyone talks about when things get tough and life get busy, the gym's the first thing to go, right? So, I reached out to you the other day to draw me up a bit of a plan to get back into the gym, and
100%.
Lo and behold, I was due to start that tomorrow, and now we're in 5 days of lockdown. So that's out the window. But prior to that, my life in general, not so much home life, but certainly work life, is mentally draining, and the release, was jumping on, with you boys and having a bit of a game online for an hour or two in the evening.
Yeah,
I think twice a week, and that was my nothing box. I watched a video. Funnily enough, a bit of a sidetrack here, but I watched a video about how a man's brain operates, and it was like you're sitting in a room, chair in the middle, and shelves everywhere with boxes, stacked up, and you go and get your work box, and you sit down on your chair, and you put your head into your work box, and that's all that matters at that point in time, because that's where your head is. And then you're going to put that one back, and you get your home box and put that down, you put it back, you go get your fishing box.
Yeah, that's right.
And you worry about fishing for a point, motorbike box that comes over. But there's also a nothing box, right? So,
that's the biggest one, man.
Thinks, when people say, what are you thinking about? Or what's on your mind? And you say nothing. Well, that actually is something. The nothing box exists, and you about nothing. But often when things get busier and busier, the box gets smaller and smaller, and more infrequent.
Gets left on the shelf, man. And I think that so I've been talking to my partner about it recently, and this it's this need to just not have any noise, right? And I think this is why gaming for me, and I'm assuming for a lot of other guys, it's very important. One, it's very simple. It's visually stimulating. It portrays like this. We like action. What guy doesn't like a fucking Arnie movie? And we get to control the dude doing that kind of stuff. So there's that little bit of excitement. But then there's like you get to hang out with your mates, but then there's that nothing else. There's no other noise. You know what I mean? You can kind of, I guess if you're lucky enough, you get to block out the world for an hour or 2 hours or 10 hours, depending on who you are. So I think that
absolutely.
I think the gaming thing, so they've done studies on gaming a lot in terms of like for elderly people, in terms of building, like creating plasticity in the brain and whatever. But I think they'll start to look into it a little bit more in the future regarding like mental health, because it does help. It helps so much, and I don't think people have recognized it yet, but I think it'll come out in the future as this. If they can get on top of it, it'll be fantastic for our generation in terms of mental health.
It's like everything. It's everything in moderation, obviously, but
that's right.
I agree. I think about me personally. If with how busy work is, often it can be on your mind all the time. You come home, you're thinking about, when that next report's due, is my budget, am I going to hit my margin?
Yeah,
where am I spending money? Have I got too many people on the job? The schedule's behind. and all that's going through your head when you come home. It's like, yeah, we're going to cook dinner. We've got to do this. We've got to meet these people. Haven't seen my family.
Yeah.
Or, we meet at the barbecue. You've got to meet up with these people. We haven't seen them for ages. We've got to plan this in. We've got to do that. Haven't got time for this. To just sit there and for an hour, immerse yourself in a video game and be able to chat, talk a bit of smack with your mates. It does help. But of course, like everything, it's in moderation. So.
That's the thing. So I haven't noticed with me as I'm very big on like shutting down. I'm one of those people that are just like clear space. If I can't find space, I'll clear it. And what that means is either drinking a lot or playing video games a lot, like that blank or both. But it's finding that blank space. So once again, it's like you can use it to clear your head, but it can also be like this inhibitor of your problem because you start to dive into it more to escape the shit that you're trying to run from. So I get what you mean, that moderation is key to everything. But once again, it's like, I think as things come out and, I think people still see video games as just, what are you playing video games for? Where there's actually a use for it and a point to it. And I think if we can sort of harness that a little better, I think it'll be good for everyone. Happy days.
It's funny because it's not uncommon, for to go around your mate's place, even in your later years, and have a few beers and something to eat, and sit around a TV and have a game of FIFA. And it's laughed at and laughed upon. But it's sort of questioned it sometimes when you jump on your console or your computer at home for an hour, and you're linking up with your mates online, but it's the stigma around that's slightly different as opposed to being in the same room and doing the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Things will change, and it'll get better. It'll get well recognised. It'll get better controlled. And there'll be more education around it. It's like the digital age, mate. It's moving.
That's what it
very
is.
quickly.
Yeah, whether we like it or not, we are in that weird generation between the people who didn't have it and don't understand it, and the people who have grown up and have been like immersed in it. So we're kind of jammed right in the fucking middle of it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Earlier today, in the earlier podcast, but 100% right. I think I translate that back to my family now, and my son, and I'm a massive advocate for time outside. I grew up on a farm,
that's right.
Mucking about and rebuilding trucks and fixing truck trailers and all sorts of stuff, right? And then I see some kids today out to dinner, to keep them quiet at the table, and I don't like it. But
yeah,
I
it's
really
horrible,
don't.
right?
But the flip side of that is that you've got to give them that exposure, because that's the way of the world now. And if you don't give them that exposure and experience, then they're going to get left behind, and you don't want them to get left behind when their mates are talking about the new game or the new technology, and they need to be able to be part of that conversation. But there's got to be a balance too. It's a moderation thing. You've got to get them out. You've got to get them on push bikes, motorbikes, break a few bones.
Yeah, that's right.
Kind of a thing. So, probably one of the biggest things that I'm scared of, and my wife will do a much better job of managing this than I will moving forward, is I guess balancing that, getting the right balance about going fishing, spending time on the beach, camping, all the stuff that I did and enjoyed, and has made me the sort of the person that I am, today. I kind of want to push all that onto him, but the world's changing, so I need to be really cognizant of that.
It's hard,
and
man.
I'll take my wife's guidance on that one. I think moving forward, she'll be better equipped to pull me into the line as well, I think. So
it's too hard to judge, man. Like like you said, the rapid advancement of it has meant that in terms of studies, the studies are so fucking like they're not very in depth. Like they've got a couple of studies out regarding like social media in terms of like Instagram and stuff, and the rates of suicide in teenagers, especially young girls. That's as far as they really look, because they always look at the worst case first, and then they'll deal with everything in between. But like you said, it's like, how do you create a balance between something that is growing so fucking quickly that we don't understand yet? Like the way we play video games is, I play it like I used to when I was a kid. It's very basic. I don't fucking understand it. I just know I press a couple of buttons and things kind of happen. Whereas, some other kids would they got like VR now. The way they play video games is fucking insane. And then, but it's like, how do you justify, like you said, let's go fishing.
Yeah.
Sit down for 3 hours and like, what happens? You're like, maybe nothing, but maybe
you get stinky hands and nothing happens. But maybe you go home and you pick up some KFC on the way home.
Yeah, that's right. And they're like, why the fuck would I do that when I can go win a tournament and win fucking 10 grand? And you're like,
yeah,
good call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
might stay home.
It's a fucking bizarre time. It's odd. It's the best time I think that we've lived in. It's very hard to keep up, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. But it's a weird. I like it. I like the fact that we can do shit like this. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's a big one. I think the biggest thing for people like us and me and with the young family is you've got to continue to learn. As much as it might be like, well, we didn't have this, and I'm not going to learn that. Or it's like I love reading articles. Got the news feed coming through on my phone about all sort of tech. Understanding what's going on, because the only way that you're going to have any understanding of how your kids are interacting and getting on with life, if you understand the platform which they're doing it. I think back to my parents. My parents split up when I was quite young, but Mum always knew what I was up to. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was hiding things from her. I was like having a few beers at footy club at the age of 15 or whatever it was, and coming home a little bit tiddly. And I thought, snuck this one past her, and then sure enough, a couple of years later, she's like, 100%. I knew all along, right? So, I look back at that and go, well, what's that going to translate to with me and my young bloke? Well, it's going to be a digital thing. So I'm going to have to have done it or have learned it or know about it to recognize. So you can
see the signs.
What he's about. So. Yeah, well, like it's a strange one, but it's exciting.
As much as the kids need to keep up with it, the parents need to keep up with it equally. If you don't understand it, like I said, I think with my parents were like very strict, and I think it wasn't strictness out of the want to be strict. I think it was just they didn't understand. They didn't understand the world was different. They didn't understand that it was changing. We had access to friends all the time, rather than just friends when you saw them. And I think they struggled with it a bit. So then when it came to like, can I go here? They're like, but you saw him at school. And you're like, yeah, but everyone's going. And they're like, so? If everybody jumped off a bridge, would you follow them? And you're like, probably, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So
if it was the cool thing to do, yeah, sure.
It's that weird, like, I don't think my parents put I'm not shitting on my parents, but like I just don't think they kind of sort of caught that wave of understanding where it's like, once again, we now have access to this information. It is so fucking readily available to us that you can get newsfeed. You can get a constant stream of what's next, what's coming up, what's bad, what's good, and you can sort of judge it based off that, rather than just going, I've watched the news and I know this thing's bad. Kids don't do that. You know what I mean? And then the next day, oh no, never mind about that. We fucked up. So kids, go do that again.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's nuts, man. I guess at any age or any time, becoming a parent is fucking terrifying.
I will never judge anyone for their parenting after becoming a parent.
100%.
Never judge anyone for what they do and how about iPads at dinner tables and spaces. If that's what those parents need and that's what works for them, then there's no judgment. From me. But previously, they're probably.
Oh, bro, I judge hard. I don't have kids, and I'm like, why do you just let them play with that all the time? And like, yeah,
give them a crayon and a piece of paper.
Yeah, because they're quiet. You're like, talk to them. And you're like, I don't understand, but I'm sitting here. I use this analogy a lot. I'm that fat cunt on the lounge screaming at fucking professional athletes on how to do their job. I just do it with parenting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you should have passed it. Kick it. Like, you wouldn't have done anything, brother. I'm like, I know.
I don't know how I'm going to go when he becomes old. Play a bit of teams. I'll be that dad on the sidelines.
just fucking giving it to kids.
You blind umpire?
Getting kicked out of fucking 4th grade football. Like, Trent, you gotta go, bro. And you're like, yeah, all right, I'll see you in the car.
The whole team's been red carded because
that's right. You get them.
Trent's been yelling abuse from the sideline.
I love it. It's hard, man. It's one of those things. There's just too many variables to it. But I think it's just consistency, right? Life's about consistency. And if you are consistently a good parent, then you're gonna have a consistently good child.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
I'm sure that
it's a difficult one. Life is strange to that effect.
Yeah,
I think I mentioned to you before. My parents split up when I was young, and I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, but that was just how it was for me. And I think
how old were you?
It has its own challenges, and I think the person that I talked about before that's maybe a little bit emotionally numb, but steady and stable. That's a result of the circumstance that I was in, and the upbringing that I had, and I wouldn't change it for the world. It's sort of made me who I am today, but it can quite easily, send you the opposite way as well.
Definitely, yeah. How old were you when your parents split up?
I think I was 2. I think so.
Yeah,
and I stayed with my dad to begin with for a few years, and supported by my nan, but my mum's mum. So my mum's mum basically helped my dad, raise me and got me through to about year 3. And then mum had settled down with another partner, and I said to dad, I want to go and live with mum and then spend some time with her. And year 3 or year 4, I moved from Donnybrook, which is southwest of WA, further south in WA to Pemberton to live with mum. Now, tough part of my life. Really, really tough when you go down there and it's year 4 and you're new school and all the rest of it. And dad, to my dad's credit, he's an amazing man. He recognised that I was going down there, and he got a job in the next town up. So he could be there in case I needed him. So he was driving an hour and 15 minutes every morning and every night to work, just in the event that I needed him. He was going to be close by. So he's an outstanding man. And that was a stepping stone for him in his career, and he's doing very well for himself now. Everything that sort of come of that. But that's the commitment you give as a father. And we're like best mates. We've done a trip around, me and my dad. So he's like my best mate. I can talk to him about anything. And equally, mum. In the early days, mum. She'd taken off. She went to Perth, and she had a few things going on. And everybody can criticise your parents, but at the end of the day, she loves me with all of her heart, and I know that, and that's the most important thing. I lived with her and my stepdad, and between the two of them, I became the person I am, and I think in comparison to maybe the rest of WA, I won't compare myself to people on the East Coast because we don't do that in Perth, but I think I turned out okay. So that's the main thing.
That's the thing, man. I think especially when you start to get older, like I don't think you even need to be a parent to sort of realize what your parents went through. So my parents split up like a lot later in life. Like I think I was like 19, so I was very aware of the fact of what was happening. But in the back end of that, like I could emotionally process it. I didn't have to grow up and then process and then grow up and then process. It was all there. You know what I mean? It was all laid out. And once again, I think it's like the more you accept it, the better you turn out. Like comparatively, once again, similar to you, that it could have went fucking either way. And I stumbled for a fair bit, but comparatively, compared to other members of my family, the eldest brother, I turned out fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? But he was, once again, you can't blame him. You can't blame your parents. He was just at a different age where he took it in differently. He handled it differently. His reaction to it was different. And he's now, 36 years old and still hasn't recovered from it. So it's one of those things, like you said,
it is one of those things, and it doesn't even sometimes. You can be, have kids that are young that go through it, or maybe siblings, or people potentially the same age, same set of circumstances, but they deal with it differently. And credit to all of my parent or parental figures, whether that be mum, dad, stepmom, stepdad, family, friends that were seen as mum or dad or aunties or uncles throughout the whole course of my upbringing. I was never used as the messenger. I was never used as
like a bargaining chip.
Like a bargaining chip or trade bait. Like my life and my upbringing and my education, my life experience was always the most important thing. Whatever had to be said or organised, outside of that or argued, was done so outside of that, and I was never used as a chip or a method of communicating that, which I'm extremely thankful for. But that's not always the case in situations like this.
Yeah, that's right. But I think it once again, there's too many variable factors in it. And I've seen it and I've witnessed it and I've played into it firsthand, and it's one of those make or breaky type things. And I think regardless of the situation you grew up in, you consider your situation hard because it's all you know at the time. And it's one of those things. Is like humans are very attached to negative experiences, and we hang on to them, especially in formative years. But once again, like you said, you now can look back on it reflectively and go, you can see the good. I remember growing up and just always seeing the bad side of it, like why'd they have to do this and what happened here and blah blah blah. And then you go, they stuck it.
This is the reason for that.
And then you go, they stuck it out for as long as they could. They did the best that they could in terms of not even like emotionally being able to just carry it out for as long as they did. And you go, good on them. Like you understand it. I think the thing now is like trying to apply it. You know what I mean? Like, especially for you, like becoming a dad and going like, you can sort of see the potholes and be like, well, I could just avoid them and create like a smoother and a better life.
Absolutely.
But where again, I think that's where this like education sort of comes into it, and the access that we have the information now is different to what they had. So they didn't have outlets and they didn't have information. Like, why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel like, I'm being boxed in, or why do I feel angry all the time? We can just Google it, whereas they didn't have that. It was just dealing with the emotion when it came and just being like, all right, well, I'm just going to react. And then I'm going to react and I'm going to react.
Instinct.
Yeah, and then it just builds up to the point where it's not necessarily that they don't, they may have fallen out of love and they didn't know how to express that, and it just explodes.
Yeah, totally.
But at least your parents were aware of the fact that, you were a child.
I guess. That in hindsight, that
which is fantastic because you hear
both of them.
Yeah,
it was still the most important thing. You know what I mean? Like,
you hear those fucking horror stories.
The anger for each other was obviously less than how important I was to the pair of them. So
that's right. But
I'll be forever grateful.
There's that. I don't know, man. It's like people have like kids really young. Into like that's a bad thing to say. Let's scrap that. I think back in the day, that whole like get married young, have a kid, and I think especially with my parents' generation, that was like the back end of it. Post World War II, post this war or whatever, where we're like, you got to get married and have kids because lots of people died and we got to sort that shit out. And then that old belief of that started to fade. So then like they'll go, all right, well, let's get together, get married. All right. And they get married straight away. And then what happens? They go, I don't particularly like this. And they're like, do you know what'll fix it? A baby. And they go, yep, okay, let's put a baby in the mix. And then that baby grows up and then they're like, well, I'm starting to feel like shit again. You know what we need to do? Let's throw another baby into the mix. And then it gets to the point where it's just like, that's enough.
Interesting you say that. I had a conversation with a couple of people the other day actually about that. People who go through a rough patch, potentially in a relationship or a marriage, decide that a baby's going to bring them back together. And look, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. But in terms of giving that child the best potential, best kickstart, and best leg up at life. I personally, my personal opinion is it's probably not the right thing to do. Try and use it as a band-aid for your own relationship. Just going through what I've been through in the last 4 months, there's been times where my wife and I, we all caught gastro, and there was a period of time there where it was like I was passing my son to my wife, and then feeling sorry for myself, and then it was vice versa 10 minutes later. Tag team, for 24 hours, and it's horrible, and to put that kind of a stress on a relationship that's potentially not 100% healthy, you can see how easy things can be derailed. So
and this is where the whole like this bargaining chip attitude for your kids play in, because both parents have an emotional attachment to the kid, and to get an emotional response that you think you need from your partner, you use the closest thing. So they go, you don't get to see your kid, and they go, fuck you, and they go, that's what I wanted. I wanted you to react. You know what I mean? They get real petty on that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's like, I don't know. We've both been in like shithouse relationships to see the precursor to all of that. You know what I mean? This fucking like petty tit for tat attitude. They just try and set you off for particular reasons, and then they like gaslight you and go, no, but it's because you're mad all the time. You're like, what the fuck? Like, did you not just see all of this? Nope.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. So
well, mine was actually while I was in Sydney, and
it was.
Yeah, those relationships, they certainly make you who you are. They make you very much self-aware. You get put into a situation you wish anybody to be put into, and they really shape who you become. Because there were some times there, while I was living in Sydney, that I wasn't sure what was going on, or what normal looked like. So lucky enough that I come out of it, with mates like you and a good experience. But from a personal perspective, it was pretty rough back then.
Fucks out. I was because I was with my ex, I think at the same time.
This is the one from the gym.
Yeah, and I think going through something very, very similar in terms of this weird fucking like gaslighting attitude. This attitude of like, woe is me. Like I'm feeling bad, so everyone has to fucking pay for that. I went through a lot of that. Like, every issue is the world's issue, and it's not fucking mine. And I'm going to tread and step over everybody I fucking need to fulfill this fucking need of happiness that I think. And then, Josh is here. I'm going to dump it on him. And you go,
and from your perspective, you constantly walk around on eggshells, not wanting to say something or do something.
Sets it off. Fucking hard.
The funny thing is that those relationships, the high are so high, so good, but the lows,
that's the thing, man.
So low.
I remember having a chat to somebody about it recently, and I think it's one of those things. It's you chase that high. It's a weird like love junkie type attitude where it's shit 90% of the time, and you're fucking fighting, and you don't really talk, and you're not communicating, and you just fucking, you don't want to be around each other, but then you get a little taste. Yeah. That little bit of like, do you want to go watch a movie? And you're like, what? Like, let's just go hang out and like cuddle on the lounge or whatever. And you're like, what? Yeah, fuck, 100%, let's do that. And then the next day it's like back to shit, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
But then you want to try and fix it. Because you think that.
But that's what you're doing from then on.
Can be fixed, and you want to change people. Do your best to try to make it better for more of the time, but most often it ends up being worse for more.
Oh, 100%, dude. It was a weird thing. So like me and my ex went to we did the couples counseling, right? And I was like, yeah, cool, I'll get my point across. Like, I can speak to another rational human. No, that wasn't the case. They just see this big bearded tattooed dude walk in, and my girlfriend was like, yeah, he yells at me all the time. And I was like, what? And I was like, no, like I try and get my point across and you don't listen. And then the psych was like, do you really yell at her? I'm like, cause I'm trying to get a point across. She's like, yelling is a form of abuse. And I was like, what is happening? Like right now, it was just like this weird, like, I watched her change from this fucking just brutal person to this, so sweet, so nice when the psych was around. And then the psych was like, well, fuck you, man, dude, with the beard and tattoos. Like, you obviously do this. And I got up and left. But then once again, that just enables that attitude more, because then she was like, well, he got up and left. Like, I stayed. You know what I mean? And it's just like this.
It's a form of manipulation.
It's like this weird, like, just it snowballs into this fucking horrendous thing. So I remember, like, it got to the point where, like, I moved to the spare room, and I was just about to move out. And then I found out she was buying an apartment because I paid for all the bills. I paid for us to go overseas. I paid for everything. And in the meantime, she was saving money to buy a 1-bedroom apartment. And then conveniently, she was like, oh, I'm done now. Right? So then I was moving out, and then she was like, look, I just bought this apartment, and we'll split up. And then she goes, I'm $8,000 short. Can you lend it to me? And I was like, what? like, what? And she's like, no, you can move in. I was like, where would you want me to sleep? I was like, it's a 1-bedroom apartment. Do I just like sleep on the floor? She's like, yeah, if you want. And I was like, nah, I'm good.
Nah,
like in her head, that was like perfectly okay. Like this really rational, really logical thing to ask somebody and just be like, can you just give me money? And I'm, nah. Okay. You know what I mean? It's
isn't it funny? Like, yeah, that part of that, that resonates with me, because it's the fact of paying all the bills, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like when we moved to Sydney, it was an escape. It was like a fresh start, and I thought it was going to be great, and put everything into it.
Yeah.
I moved to Sydney with between $60,000 and $70,000 in the bank in savings from 2.5 years of working away in the mines.
Yeah.
And I was there for 16 months, obviously employed full time the whole time, and probably put in the bank from income maybe 50 in a year after tax. So when you're talking about maybe $120,000, and then I came back to Perth after 16 months and I was in probably $25,000 worth of debt.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but that's the same. It's the same thing, and it's not a poor me story.
I think the thing is,
it
like,
makes you who you are, right?
What it is,
listen from it, and that's fine. You move on, but it's just funny that that the experience was similar, and you're putting everything in. You think that doing this and doing that, and going out here and buying this and paying for that, and all that is going to help make things better. When really, you're both just not happy, and it's not working.
That's what it is. But that's the thing. It's like, I think they put. So I remember mentioning it once, and they're like, "What is money? Everything?" I'm like, "It's not." But I think it's like the thing that is attached to it. You know what I mean? And it is the whole. Can we go do this? And you're like, "Well, I'm trying to like keep this financial ship afloat. Like I'm trying to keep us headed and moving in a direction." And they're like, "Well, no, I just want to go spend $400 on this." And you're like, "Yeah, okay, yeah. Like if that'll make you happy, just go do it." And then as soon as you stop, they're like, well, I don't think we're working out. Like, or they're like, I'm going to start a fight, or I'm going to do this, and you're like,
you're chasing that high. You say yes to the $400
because you want to. Yeah, you just want to see a bit of happiness.
You want to see it happy. Yeah,
that's
and you can be forgiven for that, because we're all human, and
that's right.
But just like I said earlier, it teaches you, it shapes who you become, and
it makes you appreciate the ones that treat you good. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. And the flip side of that is you can be quite stubborn and quite stern. And I've had to be very, self-aware. And with my wife now, in my current relationship, that you're not burdening anybody else with those scars that you've had from the past. It's
that's
being
right.
self-aware of that sort of stuff is very important.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things. It's like. I think when you go through it, and then especially when you do get a good next one, you are able to talk about it and go like, this fucked me up. Like, not just on, once again, a financial level. There was that weirdly, because I think with guys, like I said, it's so easy to just go, it was about money. And I think because that's our limitation of what we want to express in terms of feelings or whatever. But there's huge amounts of attachment to it. You know what I mean? There's time invested, emotion invested. You know what I mean? And I think when you do find somebody that you can settle with and you are happy with, and you want to spend the rest of your life with, you can go like you said, here's my scars, and here's what caused them. Here's like the things that I don't like. Here's the things that I do like. Not saying that they should adjust. It's just like it might set me off more than it should, but don't pay attention to it. It's just because of this. And I think they generally have a better understanding of that. Rather than
absolutely. I mean, I walked into my next relationship after the horrible experience, and it was all some of the questions that we talked about. So, what do you want, or is this what you want? And my response was always, no, I don't actually know what I want, but I do know what I don't want.
Yeah,
the most important thing is that I know that I don't want this and I don't want that, and anything else. Yeah, that's life, and you can deal with the ebbs and flows of things that you really enjoy and things that you tick along with. But if you can eliminate the stuff that you really don't want, and then you set yourself up for success. So
yeah, and I guess it's once again it's a life lesson that translates across the board, where it's not just in your love life, it goes into your other relationships, like your friendships and so on and so forth. And I think even like before the last one, I was fairly jaded in terms of like, you know what I mean? And then you sort of open yourself up and you kind of go, well, I got two options of either going back to being jaded or just being open about, like I said, just this is the thing that grinds me. This is the thing that fucks me up. Can we work around it?
Lay yourself on the table early, mate. And at least then you have no regrets, right? Because, well, what can, people that aren't, emotionally self-aware, what can happen is they keep reserves and they deal with things, they bottle things, bugging them. But if you lay it all on the table early days and you've got the confidence and the self-awareness to be able to do that, well then, you can move forward from there. And at the end of the day, you've always made your intentions and your desires and your things you don't like, that they've been made clear, from day one. So if you're moving down a path where it's starting to become something that you don't like, no, well, I told you this. Like, I've been very open all the way along with how I feel about this. So, it's not going to work, and let's not waste each other's time. So,
yeah, that's exactly right. Once again, I think it's that notion that, like, when you're growing up, it's always like you fall in love, like you fall and then you get married, and they don't go. Some of them suck. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I think it's especially for me, it was like, it's very hard to see outside of that. Like, I think we, like, men subscribe to that just as much as women do. And I think we put a lot of effort into that. Whether people want to admit it or not. And like, I've heard a lot, like, I'm cold. Like, I can just cut things off or whatever. But I've seen many people do it as well, and I think it's because we subscribe to something that isn't really real. Like the shit that you see on TV doesn't exist. It's not this smooth sailing. It's constant work. You know what I mean? And you're either working together or you're working against each other. So,
absolutely.
So yeah,
absolutely, I agree.
Like I said, there's my partner now is fantastic, and we definitely do work together, but it's in no way, shape or form easy. It's not like this smooth sailing, even though it's fantastic. But you know what I mean? But there's always work, and there's always
relationships are hard work, mate.
Yeah.
I couldn't do part of what I do. My wife's, love and support. She's fantastic. She's the structure to my life. I'm ad hoc. I wake up in the morning and go, I need to be at work at 7:00 this morning because I've got a meeting. I've got a flight booked to Newman that I need to change, in 20 minutes before I'm supposed to go to the airport. And I fly by the seat of my pants, but she keeps me grounded. And, it is hard work. Relationships aren't easy, but if it works and you both put in the hard work, then, you set yourself up.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I guess when you look at it as a whole, it's like two ever evolving people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think if you're a person of like growth, especially like mentally and emotionally, and somebody isn't, it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? But if you guys are both on the same board, on the same ship, happy days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Happy days. These Jack Daniels are making me sweaty.
What was that?
Oh, these. Oh, it's hot. So I got a leather chair, a leather gaming chair, right? And I have
Yeah.
it's hot. I don't understand why people buy leather gaming chairs. It's fucking stupid.
That's well, you got a gaming chair, man. That's why you could have online
Yeah,
professional chair. It helps.
I tried to fit the mold of a gamer. You know what I mean? I had a stint as a gamer, and I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't keep up with the Joneses. I think I couldn't. That's why I turned to podcasting. It's easier.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's just there. Look, we talked about it earlier, right? The games for a bit. It's not a. I don't want to make a job out of it because it's there as a catch up with your mates and talk some smack and have a bit of fun. Not turn it into. Whilst I have utmost respect for people that make a career of it and are successful at it, it's fantastic. But it's personally not for me. I'll stream a couple of games here and there, but with a camera and me interacting with people, it's just streaming some cool gameplay, and some chats with the boys. So
yeah, I think everybody's got to approach it differently. I mean, I'm ultra achievement driven for some reason. Like it's just not necessarily goal driven. So when I started gaming, like Matty P got me into gaming, right? To streaming it, right?
Yeah.
So I got the computer, I got the setup, started streaming, and then they're like, "Well, just do this, and you'll become affiliate." And I was like, "Oh, okay, right."
Yeah.
So I did it on Facebook, and then I was like, "Nah, it's kind of like didn't click." And then now Matty was like, "Do it on Twitch, just there's Twitch, give that a go." So did it on Twitch, and they're like, "Oh, here's a set of requirements, become affiliate on Twitch." And I was like, "Mad, okay, I'll do that." And I did it, and then I was like, "Nah, that's it."
Finished. Success, great success.
And I was like, that's it for my gaming career. I can definitely see it's not going any further than this because I'm not very good compared to some of the other guys. I'm not very entertaining because I'm grumpy all the time. I'm just gonna wrap it up and just do this. Talk to my friends on the internet.
Yeah, cool.
Talk shit. But when are you coming over, man? You should. Oh, you can't. You get in lockdown. It's funny.
Look, we'll have to tell you something.
So the guy who
I think that the next outing, I'm hoping the outing for me, sort of interstate, might be I love Formula One. I love Formula One racing. So the Melbourne Grand Prix is later in the year. I think maybe November. So I'm hoping things clear up from a COVID perspective by then, and perhaps it wouldn't be too much of an ask for you guys to travel down to Melbourne.
I wouldn't.
Maybe catch up and have a quiet ale and watch some cars race around the track.
I would definitely not be against that. I'm all for one. I love Melbourne. Melbourne is sick, and Formula One is also sick. So I don't see the harm in combining two very fucking awesome things together. And then you being there. There's the guy who came on the podcast earlier, Benny. He just said, "Welcome to lockdown, comrade."
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what does that mean for you guys? Like, how does your work? Is your work affected by COVID at all, or can you still fly in and fly out? What is the deal?
The early mail at the moment is.
Wait, hold up! I just lost you, man.
Sorry.
No, audio just dropped for some reason. Say that again.
No. So the early mail at the moment is that. The mining operation construction scene will still continue to operate as it has the, I guess, duration of the pandemic. But there might be some restrictions on due to travel this week. It's classed as non-essential because I'm only visiting the site. So that's been canned. And then we're just trying to work out at the moment whether individuals due to fly in this week can. I know that there's no flights tomorrow. Nobody can fly tomorrow if they were due to. And then we'll just seek some more clarity from the government in the next coming days and work it out. But no, certainly the mining operation continues to run. We've just kind of got a mould around it as best we can. So, for me personally, as a I guess you could say an office worker, because I travel so much, I can connect remotely from anywhere to the company server. So I'll work from home this week, and then where possible. I think the directive from the government at the moment is where possible people work from home if they can, and if they can't, they'll travel to work, masks and wear masks and do what they need to do at work. But any non-essential stuff is being locked down. He's gone hard and he's gone fast, which I think will be a good end. But no gyms, cafes, none of that. All that's shut down for 5 days. So we'll see how we go. Fingers crossed.
It's one of those like small prices though. Like I don't know. Everyone brings it up and they're COVID. You know, like look at America. Like it's they've done something. They've half-assed lockdown. And whatever reason why it's so when I had Maddie on, we sort of went over it and it was like it's an unknown thing that has never been dealt with before in the world. You know what I mean? And people are trying to deal with it as the information comes in, regardless of it being good and bad. And I think America took that in like such a literal sense that they're like, all right, we're going to lock it down. And America was like, okay. And they're like, well, it might not be so bad. And then like, oh, okay, no, 100% we got to lock this down because it's killing people. And they're like, oh, but you said something else. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they
how dare you?
Yeah, they're like, well, you know, but I think and then you look at a case like New Zealand where she was just like, fuck it, shut it down. And then like, you know what I mean? Like a month later. And I think the only argument I've gotten to that is like, but it's a smaller place. And you're like, yeah, granted it's smaller, fair enough, but it worked. Like it's 100% worked. They are COVID free. Just shut this shit down. Like,
yeah, just lock it down real hard, real quick, and hopefully get through it. You know, go from there. So, we'll see. Proof will be in the proverbial pudding. So, fingers crossed.
I think the only people who really complain about it, though, are like people who don't really have anything to lose. They're like, I want to go get my hair cut. And you're like, well, do you have kids? No, yeah, but they're older. Do you have grandparents? No, they're already passed. That's why you want to go get your hair cut. You know what I mean? It's like, there's
do it for everyone. Like, there's all these theories out there about it's true or not. And at the end of the day, if you want to get back to some form of normality, you just conform. And even if you don't agree with it, you just conform for, in our case, 5 days. People say, oh, it's one person, this, that, and the other. And it's not a big thing. And it's all make-believe. But you know what? Just conform for 5 days. Just suck it up. Don't be rebellious. Don't get yourself in trouble. Get over it. There'll be no cases and we can move on. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right, man. I always I don't know. That's right. It's whether you want to believe the government or not, or whether you want to believe whatever, just shut up. Stay at home. If anybody's watching this and they think it's not real, just stay the fuck at home.
Stay home and play video games. It's good for you.
Sit home, play video games. If you got a problem, come on the podcast. I'll
speak the truth.
We'll have a go. Anyway, Trent, let's call it there, man. But thank you so much for coming on. Let's let me know about Melbourne. Well, if it's in November, I don't see any problem.
Yeah, look, we're in constant comms anyway, mate. So I'm sure we can take something up. Just keep pressure on Matty to take a tour posse with him to Perth, Western Australia, and I'll show you around the state. It'll be a good time. But if it doesn't happen there, then I'll find a way over at least to Melbourne, and I'm sure we can convene there.
Yeah, 100%, man. Awesome. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for sort of being open and honest. I think it's good.
All good.
I think
love what you do, mate. It's a good forum, and I hope it grows some legs. I enjoy personally tuning in, not only because you're a good friend of mine, but I just like hearing the stories of other people. So I do hope it grows legs for you.
Thanks, man.
I believe it should.
I hope it does.
Thanks for having me on.
Alrighty, legend. Well, I'll be in touch soon. Let's jam soon. Whenever you're on next, let me know. I'll jump on.
Absolutely, mate. Sounds good.
Alrighty, legend. Have a good one.
See you, mate.
All right, see you, Trent.